Stephen, first and foremost, I do want to ask you about this movie. I enjoyed watching it, and I have to ask, what was it about it that first even drew you to the project?
It just was a great screenplay. You know, David McKenna was somebody that I've liked for a long time. I loved that movie Blow he wrote. I loved American History X. I just think he's very no holds barred kind of screenwriter, which you don't really get every day. And this film was a very unlikable guy that I was asked to play, but at the same time was incredibly challenging role in a film that I thought was important. You know, this father and son story, as kind of dysfunctional and twisted as it is, set against the backdrop of, you know, arguably the biggest sport in the world. You know, I mean, MMA and UFC and just every culture of this genre has really blown up over the years to, you know, it's a totally eviscerated boxing, I think. And it's just kind of, it's the sport that people like. And it's just, you know, there's a lot of amazing fighters and athletes, and they keep coming, and they keep, you know, Chris is in Abu Dhabi, like you just said, getting ready for a big one for Walt, his fighter. And so, like, you know, for me, it was just a really beautiful, strong movie, and it was a hard one to make, but I had a great team. So as far as the fighting and all that, I had a first-class guy in Chris, and you know, Birmingham, Alabama, and letting me kind of learn in his stable with his fighters, and giving people opportunities. It was great.
Yeah, it's a bunch of great guys down there. And Chris, I'll get to you in a second, but I do, you know, I know his team very well. And I have to ask, so, you know, you mentioned it, obviously, you know how prominent MMA is becoming, but are you in fact a fan yourself? Was there any kind of fighter that maybe you modeled or drew from for inspiration for your character?
Yeah, there was a bunch. I mean, I did a film, I don't know how long ago it was, but maybe 10 years ago or longer, a film called Felon in New Mexico. And I got to work with Greg Jackson's team and meet
nice.
Cowboy. I met Cowboy Cerrone, and I met Rashad Evans. I met all these really cool fighters, and worked with them on some of the fights in the prison. And then, you know, going to Alabama, it was kind of a similar thing. I met Chris Conolley, who was going to be really involved in this film, which is really an MMA movie. Right. And, you know, so I kind of, you know, me and Nick, the director, we thought, you know, what if Conor McGregor was from Alabama and was, you know, throw this Southern thing into him, but then, you know, he hops on his jet, goes to Vegas, right? You know, crushes his opponent, wins another belt, right? Takes a bunch of Molly, and then flies back to Alabama. You know, I mean, the guy's out of his mind. You know, he's a guy that's stuck in his old school ways, probably from his own father beating the hell out of him. Is a very hard look and no holds barred in the writing, I think. And so it was just a question of how do we find a great kid to play my son, which I think we did. And Darren Mann, he delivers an incredible performance, I think. And, you know, and the rest kind of, you know, the director and the production really gave me a first-class MMA team, and we just went to town. You know, that's awesome. Well, yeah, I mean,
Greg Jackson's team, those are great guys, but it's funny because apparently I didn't realize, Chris, that you were so involved in this until I saw your cameo in it. And I was like, wait a minute. Dude.
He's kind of a scene stealer. Chris Conolley, he's a bit of a scene stealer because when he's on camera, I feel like nobody's watching me. You know, he's just so damn handsome in the referee outfit.
I think, Chris, the last time I saw you, I think it was at one of the after parties in San Antonio or whatever, after Alexander's after party, I think. But you did great in the movie. But obviously you're such a great coach, and I want to know what it was like working with Stephen, because obviously you work with a lot of professional fighters. So to bring in an actor who, you know, oftentimes actors don't want to really do the work, they don't really want to commit to the role. So what was it like for you being able to work with Stephen, who obviously we know is a committed actor? Uh-oh.
Chris.
You know what? I hate to say it. Come on, Chris.
Right, about to talk about me. The Abu Dhabi connection went down.
Well, let me just keep going with you, Stephen, and hopefully Chris can join in. But for you, you know, I didn't know what your baseline physical ability was before you even went down to his gym, because obviously it's a bunch of killers in there. So
yeah. I mean, I knew, you know, I've done some stuff. I've obviously done a lot of fighting on camera, so I know, you know, it definitely is an art as far as whatever you're doing. Whether if Cash was a straight up boxer, if he was a wrestler, or if he was a MMA star, you know, I know how to sell and throw a punch, you know, which is, you know, usually the basics in movie fighting. But so you have that kind of technical aspect that I have, but there were a lot of moves on the ground and the grappling judo stuff that my son's throwing at me that I didn't really know. And so, you know, Chris and his team took me through every move until I started doing it where it looked believable, you know, and that whether it's a suplex, you know, or a lot of these tumbling moves, you know, arm bars, things that I knew about and I'd seen in fights because I am a fan, but of the sport. But I've never quite, you know, done those specific
You know, I've
moves.
never been suplexed either, and I'm not trying to be. Like, that looks like it totally sucks. So,
and we had some good doubles for that move too, which Ross and Alex. I'll throw out a shout out to them because you know those were me and Darren's doubles, and it was really important to have two great doubles because then you're able to really. I'll get to work with Darren's double on close shots, vice versa, and we just get a rest in between, and then we can go put us together, put them together, and just mix and match. So, Chris, are you back with us?
Yeah, Chris, you here?
Am I? I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We can hear you. We can hear you. So listen, I was just asking him about going through all the motions here because the way the fight scenes were shot, they were very believable. So in my mind, it looked like you, Stephen, really did do a lot of the work. So Chris, as the coach there, what was it like putting him through all those moves?
Man, it was a piece of cake, to be honest with you. Like, he came in and we were putting in long days. It was like a condensed fight camp. And one of the things that we were really trying to do is make it to where someone like yourself or someone that is an MMA fan can watch the movie and be like, okay, that was a real fight. Instead of, you know, the worst thing about a fight movie is you watch a movie and it's like, man, that guy don't know how to fight. The scenes weren't scripted very well, but the choreography and being able to pull off, you know, some pretty technical moves throughout the course of a fight and not having that long to train for it, I think they knocked it out of the park. So I think the fight scenes were really believable, and that's because of the fact that they came in and put in the technical work. So it was a piece of cake, man, working with those guys, but it wasn't like, you know, a 3-hour, 4-hour day with a fighter. It was 8-hour days we're in there working. You know, it was less conditioning intense. It was much more technical work. But Stephen Dorff is a professional, man. He's Snow from Blade, for God's sake. This ain't nothing new to him, you know, ain't nothing new. So he knocked it out of the park. It was awesome.
I love it. I love it. Well, Stephen, you know, some of the bigger names down there in that gym, Walt Harris, like we're talking about, who's fighting soon. Eric Anders is a big guy down there. I know, you know, Chris has worked with a lot of people. So were there some of the pro UFC fighters that you did work out with for this one?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, we had Tyron Woodley, we had Kenny Florin, we had so many cool
that's right.
You know,
yeah, right, because they're the color commentators and stuff. So they actually worked I mean, those are my boys. I work with them all the time.
They're the Joe Rogan or whatever, you know, those guys. And then, you know, and then, so I didn't really, you know, but they were definitely, you know, I would ask them, how's it looking, you know, because they're right there and they're, you know, at the table down there. And they were like really liking some of the takes and would say when, you know, and Chris would ask and I'd ask Chris and, you know, we were basically on this arena for however long it was, a week and change. And we got all these fights done in the beginning of the film, which then led us to be able to concentrate more on the drama once we knew we had them in the can. But, you know, I mean, it was it was awesome. I mean, even Cowboy Cerrone, who was my friend, was in the film, but the scene kind of in the edit got cut, not because it wasn't a good scene. It actually is a funny scene because it was a kind of role reversal scene where Cowboy comes up to Cash and he's the kind of the nerdy fan, you know, and he comes up to me at dinner with my lady and I'm like, oh, hey buddy, you know, and I kind of Cash typical dick move that, you know, he writes something like, don't ever come up to me when I'm eating dinner with my wife, you know, you stupid or whatever. And then Cowboy reads it on the way out and he looks at me and he's like, what the fuck, man? You know, and it's like, it was a cool little scene and it was cool to see Cowboy in that. And he was really good in it. But in the end, the edit, I talked to the director and he said where it was coming from in the story, because she sees my wife, Carucci, sees my ex-wife working in the restaurant. It was like, at that point, she wants to get us out of there. And the scene kind of slowed the edit down. But so I'm
That's
bummed. I left a message for Cowboy and told him, I said, man, the scene didn't make it, but you were great in it. And the movie's really good, you know, because it's hard to get, you know, they want me to get Cowboy to talk about the movie. And I'm having a hard time saying, talk about the movie you're not in, but
Yeah.
you were in.
Put him in
But
the
I love the
director's
guy. I
cut.
love the guy. I love the guy, and he worked on my show Deputy a little bit, doing stunts too. All those New Mexico guys are so cool, like the old guys too, the older
Totally.
school, like Keith Jardine and all these cool.
Oh my God, the Dean of Mean. Come on, those guys are awesome.
I love meeting these guys and working with them in all different areas. But you know, on this film, I really worked with Chris and his team. I worked with Eric a little bit. Eric has a little cameo in the film, pulls me
Nice.
off my
Nice.
after the fight.
I love
you
it.
know,
Well,
and,
Chris, I mean, yeah, I know that's the thing is I know your vibe, and I know like you know you're easy to work with and stuff like that. So, is this something that you plan to do more of? I didn't know that this was something that you usually do. I don't know if this was just because you guys were shooting in Birmingham, or have you been kind of like a stunt coordinator, fight coordinator on other stuff?
No, this was the first time for me, and then we also worked on Devil All the Time.
Very cool.
So if something comes to Birmingham, I'd like to be involved for sure. But no, it wasn't anything. It just kind of, so they called me up. Nick called me up at the gym, was like, hey, we're shooting a movie. You want to come by and film there? And I was like, yeah, these people are full of shit. Like, sure, come by whenever. You know what I mean? And then a month went by and they're like, hey, no, we're for real. We want to come by and check the place out. I was like, yeah, okay, sure. Hung up the phone. Then Eric had a fight, I think. This was right before we fought in Brazil. Eric had a fight, and then, you know, they showed up after we got home from Nebraska. We got back from Nebraska. They showed up the day later, and it's turned out to be real. And then next thing you know, I'm helping train the actors and train the stunt doubles. They're working in the gym, and then I'm in the movie. I'm probably the worst referee ever that there is. I'm letting stuff go. It was like Yamasaki. You know what I mean? It was bad.
That's terrible. Did you do this stuff? Right?
No, I did not do that. I did not do that at all. But you know, if other stuff comes up, I'd love to do it. I had a lot of fun. It's really cool to see how those things are done. And I loved it. I loved the whole experience. It was awesome.
Awesome. Well, and Stephen, for you, I mean, obviously, like you said, you knew how to sell a punch and do all that kind of stuff before anyway, but I am wondering now if you have been inspired to kind of get in there a little bit more. I don't know if there was one part of the fight game you like more, if you're more of a stand-up guy or if you like jujitsu, but is there any part of this now that kind of piqued your interest to do it a little bit more just recreationally for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's just an awesome sport. I mean, I love that I know some of these moves if I ever had to try to use them. But I mean, I have a lot of respect for fighters, man, that they get in this cage and you don't know what's going to happen to you. You don't know how long the round's going to last. It could be 2 seconds. You know, the toughest guy in the world could get stunned in the first 2 seconds and go down, and it'd be a huge upset. You know, or it can go the distance and you see just two warriors out there for you to the point of exhaustion, you know. I mean, I don't think I have it in me to do that. I'm more of a lover, not a fighter. I think in my field. But I mean, as far as you know, recreational and getting in the, I'd love to get on the mats. I wish I was in Birmingham. I love punching. I mean, it's an incredible workout. It's the best cardio workout you could ever do. I don't like treadmills, and I'd much rather kind of dance and dance around and hit some mitts and get on the ground and learn some grappling moves. And I mean, it takes a lot of strength and breath and breathing and things that, you know, I wasn't really aware of. And I learned a lot in those, you know, in that core 3 weeks, 4 weeks of, you know, getting in, you know, learning the fights to filming the fights, and then also having Chris around through most of the film too. So, because he would pop by, and also we'd be able to ask him questions, and he was involved in all the other scenes too, like whether it was Cash's gym scenes or these scenes. A lot of his younger fighters were always there in the movie. So there was a Conolley presence there, and there was a great, it was just a great team, and you know, and I love the sport. I mean, I'm a big fan, you know.
Yeah, well, look, you don't have to tell me. Like, I've been covering it since forever, so I love it too. People ask me, they're like, "Oh, are you a fighter?" I'm like, "No, I like my original nose. I'm good. I'm good." But I absolutely love it too. I love it. And I wish you the best of luck with this. I know my time is almost up here, but Stephen, I don't know where you live or if you're an LA guy, but if you ever do want to train with other people, we'd be happy to take you. But Chris is the man when you're down in the South.
No, man,
go hang out.
He's gonna train with me in the AM. He's in the South now.
I know. I need to go down there. I need to go down to train and to learn how to play spades because I still don't know.
Yes, dude. We're gonna teach you. We're gonna get you right. I do want to say something. Stephen Dorff nailed the Southern accent. It's nice. You can't be from Alabama and not have a Southern accent, and he nailed the Southern accent. And not everybody can do that. Only people that are from the South can do that. Stephen Dorff is a Southerner. He belongs to Bama. Don't try to sneak him back to LA, Karyn Bryant. Don't try it.
Come on, you know how I roll, Chris. You know how I roll. Right. All right. Well, listen, guys. Congratulations on the project. I think our fan base is really going to enjoy it. So, Stephen, you did great work as usual. And Chris, love seeing you. And I love that you're getting involved in this. I hope it means you get to do more of this kind of thing because you guys nailed it. So best of luck with everything, guys. And thanks for your time today.
Okay, KB. Thanks, appreciate it. See you soon.
Bye.